All right. Again, we're going to do an easy example and a hard example. So for subtracting mixed numbers, your first step is the same. Write it vertically. So it's going to be 8 9/10 minus 3 2/3. Step 2, subtract your fractions. And of course, you'll have to find common denominators if they're not already there, but I don't have to write that because we know it now. So between 3 and 10, I can just multiply. It's 30. That's going to be the least common denominator. So I'm going to set up my little multiplication problems and put my new denominator. To get from 10 to 30, I multiply by 3. 9 times 3 is 27. To get from 3 to 30, I multiply by 10. 2 times 10 is 20. Now I can subtract these fractions right here. 27 minus 20 is 7. Denominators stay the same. Step 3, subtract your whole numbers. So 8 minus 3 is 5. This cannot be reduced or simplified anymore. So this is our final answer. When you have an easy example, it's just those 3 steps. So the hardest thing you'll have to do is figure out your common denominator. On the next slide, we're going to do the harder example. All right, so our difficult example is 16 3/9. So I'm not going to write steps 1, 2, and 3 again because they're the same. But we are going to write this vertically. We are going to find our common denominator. And again, we can multiply. That's going to be our common denominator, 45. Set up my multiplication problem with my new denominator, which is 45. To get from 9 to 45, we multiply by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. To get from 5 to 45, we multiply by 9. 2 times 9 is 18. Step 3 says subtract the fractions, but 15 is smaller than 18. I cannot do that. So I need to regroup. So this 16 over here, I'm going to go ahead and take one of these and make it 15. Okay? I'm going to add that 1 to this fraction right here, but I'm not going to add it as the number 1. I need to add it as a fraction, okay? Now, I know that 1 over 1 equals 1. 2 over 2 equals 1. 3 over 3 equals 1. So whatever your denominator is, that's what you're going to add over itself. So I'm going to add 45 over 45 because that equals 1. The 1 that I took from over here is now here as a fraction, okay? Now I'm going to add the 15 45ths I already had to the 45 that I just borrowed from the 16. 15 plus 45 is 60. So now I have 60 45ths instead of just 15. Now I can subtract because 60 is bigger than 18. I can't do this in my head. You can use a calculator for the adding and subtracting if you want to. 5, 2. So now I have 42 45ths when I do my subtracting. So I have just subtracted my fractions. Now I can subtract my whole numbers. 15 minus 10 is 5. You can stop right here, and that can be your final answer on your exit ticket. You will get full credit. You will type in 5 and then a space and then 42/45. No spaces when you type the fraction. But you might see, hey, I can simplify because 3 goes into both of these. 3 goes into 4 once. 3 goes into 12 14 times. This one I know by heart. 3 goes into 45 15 times. So you may also write the answer as 5 and 14 15ths. Both of these will get you full credit, okay? We do not have to reduce yet. We'll get there. So what was the last step? If the fraction on top is smaller, that's a lot of words. If top fraction is smaller, I'm going to say borrow, even though I don't like that word. You're regrouping. We're going to borrow 1 from the whole number. But write it as a fraction. And then I'm going to put a little star here so you know what you're doing. Use the new denominator to make the fraction. Write all this down because your notes are supposed to help you when I can't, okay? So if you can't remember what you did, you should be able to look back at your notes and remind yourself, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. Because if you ask me for help, I'm going to ask you what's step 1, what's step 2, until it becomes automatic. So now I think we're just going to do 6 practice problems today because these take a little bit longer, and then you'll be able to do your exit ticket.